You want me to get off meta? Be honest. Meta's your mom's name, isn't it? Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. Guys, you don't need Galactic Legends. No, you do. They're good in this game. They really are. They're gate holders to a lot of different places. You need to be planning around getting Galactic Legends. But if you want the off-meta counters, if you want to be able to beat Galactic Legends without using them yourself, then this is the source for you. I want to talk about all the different off-metas that are currently viable in... especially in GAC, just so that you can start punching up, guys. Start working on these teams if you want to. We're also going to discuss a little bit of the value of having off-meta counters and a little bit of the bad stuff as well. So, before we do that, just want to say thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for all your support. I couldn't do what I do without you. And, guys, mount the algorithm. Like, subscribe, and comment. Ding the bell. If you like this kind of video, please let me know. I want to turn this into something that we keep current and keep building on over time. We can release this every once in a while, every couple months or something. But off meta, people ask me, what does off meta mean? And I mean, it means different things in different games. In this case, meta just means the strongest teams, the things that are going to be the most popular and the most useful. And in this case, it's just gonna, I use it more broadly in the sense that the meta is Galactic Legends, or in the ship's meta it would be Executor, Profundity, and Leviathan. But so if you're using teams that don't have a Galactic Legend to beat teams with Galactic Legends, you're going to come out ahead, because then you can just put your own Galactic Legends on defense, and if your opponent doesn't know how to beat your Galactic Legends, then they're gonna have a bad time. And it sounds pretty nice, honestly. Like, hey, you don't need Galactic Legends. That sounds pretty awesome. But there's a lot of reasons to be considering. You can't just go all in on it, really. I don't think the game works for you to just not have any Galactic Legends. And like, if you don't have Jabba, you're not getting that bounty, the Smuggler's Run 2 with all the awesome mod stuff. You're getting behind. It's painful. And so there's a lot of reasons not to be doing this, like things to be cautious about, I guess. So you're gonna have lower win rates against a lot of these teams than if you use your own Galactic Legend. A lot of times Supreme Leader Kylo is gonna beat X team at a 90-something% win rate, as opposed to that same thing, if you use an off-meta counter, you might have an 80% win rate, or even significantly lower. You might have to multi-shot them, and if you're not into that, I get that. You're also going to be gearing for specific teams as opposed to gearing for Galactic Legends. So instead of working on a bunch of worthless First Order characters to get a really focused, powerful entity in Supreme Leader Kylo, instead you're gonna say, no, I don't need First Order in my life right now. I'm gonna work on these 5 other characters that might be useful in other game modes and GAC and be able to beat these off-meta stuff, but I won't have the concentrated power of Supreme Leader Kylo or have that really robust, strong First Order faction, for instance. So there's give and takes in everything, right, folks? And then you're gonna have less GLs if you're doing that, because you're farming random characters that don't necessarily overlap into getting a lot of Galactic Legends. Eventually, you'll probably end up, my middle account, I have 3 accounts. My middle account right now only has 3 Galactic Legends. I just had a season where I faced all 9 opponents with 7 Galactic Legends. I mean, Kyber 2, and I beat, I think, 5 or 6 of them. I don't remember what the end tally was. I ended up with a winning record. I stay in Kyber 2. I've been in Kyber 2 for a couple years on that account. So, I mean, the off-meta works. It's just more challenging. It also, sometimes some people don't like Datacron, sometimes you don't want to keep up with things. You don't want to have to. It takes more skill to do off-meta stuff. You just have to keep up with things. And if you're not into that, if you don't want to pay attention and learn these counters, I'm not going to judge you for it. It's just a factor that you have to consider when you're thinking about working on off-meta stuff. So, in favor of off-meta, though, you're going to punch up in GAC and you're going to get a lot better crystal payouts. Because if you have a Galactic Legend or two, you can just afford to put them on defense and then beat your opponent's Galactic Legends with your own off-meta stuff. Then you win a lot of times, because most people don't know how to do off-meta. It's a tricky thing, and to me, that's what makes this game interesting. If it was just GL versus GL, for me, it would be a snooze fest. It would be boring. It's not interesting to me. I don't want to do it, guys. But you can leave an FU defense. My main account, I have all 7 GLs. That last season, I placed 6 on defense. Or not last season, last 5v5. I think I placed 6. Or did I place all 7? I don't remember. But I think I placed 6 off-meta counters, guys. It's a lot of fun. Other people place 6, then I'll still easily clear them, and they'll be like, "What?" I mean, that's against people who are in the top 100, top 50 level accounts. So it works, guys, at every level. It really does. My Prevail Man account, my 5 million, just got into Erodium because I managed to figure out a way how to beat Jedi Master Kenobi in 3v3 without a Galactic Legend of my own. I know, I'm bragging. It's because I'm fancy, guys. It also helps you just learn the game and get better at the game mechanics, so you can be an actually good player. Now, I don't want you to get too excited, guys. I pulled some of these stats from Insights, and I just ran out of time, honestly. So this is the last slide I have that talks about anything from Insights. Well, I'll be talking about percentages and stuff, but I'll be over time building on this video, trying to get a better version of defense for each of these Galactic Legends. So after looking at, I mean, it just takes a while to figure it out, but this is the best Jedi Master Luke team against the majority of things. Remember, Jedi Master Luke is going to hold decently well against off-meta stuff. It's still just going to get completely destroyed by a few different Galactic Legends and a few other comps. Like the Reva comp is almost 100% win rate against every Jedi Master Luke comp. So here's some of the comps though, like Afra, if you use the team that I'm showing you, only had a 41% win rate, etc. General Skywalker has game against him too, apparently, which is something I didn't realize. Looking at Jedi Master Luke, though, the best counters, so yeah, Reva's about 100%. And then, if you're going to use Afra, guys, against Jedi, you really want B2. That's going to be a commonly recurring theme with Afra. She counters 4 Galactic Legends. She wants B2 on at least 2 of them, including Jedi Master Luke. Grievous is just going to ride the turn meter train against this specific General Jedi Master Luke. It's going to be fairly difficult. Shaak Ti is a pretty tough cookie. Because she gains a lot of turn meter every time you hit her, and you're doing a lot of AoEs, and so she's getting a lot of turns, and every once in a while she'll just cleanse her whole team. And so if you see Shaak Ti on the squad, Grievous is going to have a bad day potentially. You can use Maul on this comp, actually. It's pretty nice. You can increase cooldowns with him because he can ignore taunt with his initial hit, and then you eventually, for him, you just keep increasing cooldowns and hit a couple times, and then do your AoE and let your other Mandalorians do the main sources of damage for you. You also have the Dash team. It has a fairly low win rate. I was kind of surprised by this, but Dash will kill all the ads at the very least, and if you have YOLO and he's able to ramp his damage over time, he also gets a lot of speed. I just got him to Relic 6 just because I got excited for this comp. In fact, this is the thing I do. I have more Relic 6s than anyone in Kyber 1 probably. Just because I get excited about a project and realize I can't invest more than Relic 6, so then I stop. And then Starkiller works really nicely here, guys. If he's not just permanently ability blocked, that's why Old Ben is such a good comp against him. He can ability block Starkiller, but if Starkiller gets a turn where he's not ability blocked, then he can do his AoE and just torch that team because they have so many buffs. It's maybe one of the most satisfying things in the entire world, not just the game. So one thing I want to point out, guys, with Sith Eternal Emperor, people tell me all the time, dude, just use Wampa. Why are you stressing about Sith Eternal Emperor? And it's like someone told them that Wampa was just a panacea for the scourge of Sith Eternal Emperor. It's like Wampa cures everything against Sith Eternal Emperor, and he doesn't. overall, he has a 27% win rate, 28%, I guess, and that's over the course of 2,000 battles. That doesn't count anyone who's trying to clean up a Sith Eternal Emperor. It is not a good win rate against Sith Eternal. It can work, it's a good tool, he's a good cleanup option, etc. But guys, Wampa is not the one and only answer to Sith Eternal Emperor. Backpack Emperor, in fact. So if you want to put him on defense, the problem is, okay, so you can beat Wampa alone just by putting Savage or Malak or Crew down. But if you want to beat other off-meta teams or other Galactic Legend teams, you need to have some more investment. So you need like the full Traya team with Savage, or you need the full Darth Revan team. Malgus. I wonder how Malgus would do. I didn't see any numbers on that, but you have to commit on it. These teams are good, and Sith Eternal Emperor is very strong on defense, contrary to popular opinion, but you just have to remember, you have to invest on that team if you want to have success. So the best ways to counter him, you don't need B2 to be successful here, but Afra does a really great job against the Eternal Emperor, and even against the really strong comps, even against like the comps with Traya and Savage and stuff, that she still has a pretty high win rate. It's somewhere around 60-ish%, and that's even including all the dummies who try to fumble it and don't know what they're doing. That includes those people. So otherwise, the General Grievous is the other Galactic Legend that he can counter. He will be shut down by Malak or Savage if you're not careful. Savage sometimes you can get past, but usually Grievous doesn't have a high threshold for pain, honestly. If it's a bunch of garbage Sith, then it's game on. The Starkiller team works pretty nice. I think a lot of the stats that I pulled though are because they had the Mara Jade Kron involved, and that thing was nasty. So I'm guessing it's not quite as effective as the numbers that I saw indicate. So, and then of course, I'm not even going to say it anymore, guys. Inquisitors do great against all the Galactic Legends at least a 60% win rate. For all of them, except for Lord Vader, which is considerably lower, somewhere in the 20s. So, Supreme Leader Kylo, you don't see him on defense that often. One interesting thing that I noticed, though, was with that Jedi Revan team. So you can sort your data on the site that I was using by Kyber 1, Kyber 2, Kyber 1, or Kyber 1 and 2, or Kyber 1, 2, and 3. You can include all of, whatever divisions you want. You can just pull data from just Kyber 5 if you want, or Rhodium 3, or whatever you want to do. The thing that you notice for off-meta counters usually is it becomes more and more difficult to pull them off in the Kyber 1, like as you approach Kyber 1, because people are more engaged, they have bigger rosters, they have better mods, they know how to counter these things, and so people are less effective. These off-meta counters are less effective, and the percentage win rate goes down. The one time they found that was opposite of that was with this Jedi Revan team. As you continue, so if you conclude all 5 Kybers, it's like a 50% win rate against Supreme Leader Kylo. As you continue to, say, okay, don't include Kyber 5, don't include Kyber 4, don't include 3. Once you get to 1, it's about a 70% win rate. It's totally because people who are in the top Kyber levels know how that counter works and aren't just fumbling at it, instead of seeing like, oh, I have the right team, let's just jump in without putting the right mods in. So pretty interesting stuff to me. We also have the first emergence of Katme here, guys. You can use Shaak Ti here, or you can use C-3PO in that final slot, but you need the rest of them. And you need them all to be somewhere around Relic 5 or higher, if you can. And then Vader is good here. It's better, has a higher win rate than Emperor Palpatine, because Palpatine doesn't get bonus turn meter because of Hux. Hux shuts that down, but Vader just goes into Merciless and gets 5 or 6 basics in a row where he gets to call Supreme Leader, or gets to call Starkiller to assist. So it's a good time. Everyone enjoys it. Starkiller feels like he's a puppy dog just following his Master Vader around. Now, Rey doesn't have that many off-meta counters. We have Starkiller, which is a very prominent one. And once you figure out how to do it, it's most comps are gonna bow We are gonna bend to your will. However, once you get away from that, so you have General Skywalker. If you're facing a comp that doesn't have a lot of extra offense other than Rey will knock you down, but then you gotta channel your Chumbawamba and get up again. They're never gonna keep gas down. And so Rex needs to keep his turn meter boost in for when General Skywalker is inevitably whirlwinded down. The least success I've had with General Skywalker teams against Rey have been when there are other personally powerful characters that can knock General Skywalker down on their turns, and then Rey gets to whirlwind the clones. If she's the only one doing the damage, then you can beat most of these comps, because one trait that they commonly share is that they're going to have a lot of buffs spread around on the team. And then, of course, Reva has like a 60% win rate, so go figure. Lord Vader, not a lot of great counters. The Bounty Hunter comp against any team with Maul on it is like 27% or something. It's not a good percent. I think the best I found was somewhere around 40%. Not great on its own. You can use troopers. Go search for my crash course on how to use troopers against Lord Vader. It's a pretty cool way to do it. You have to use Iden and Watt, so maybe a little expensive, but you can beat a ton of really strong Vader teams. You can't use it against thick Kron Vader. There's just too many hit points involved, unfortunately. Afra doesn't have a high win rate against Lord Vader, but she'll kill most of the adds most of the time, and sometimes she'll even sneak in a kill against Vader, somewhere around 20% range. And then there's somewhere around 27%, 30% for Inquisitors against Vader, depending on what his comp is. You also have, for Jedi Master Kenobi, you have a Bounty Hunters team that can snipe out Cat, then you can send in General Skywalker, so it's a double tap, a planned double tap, which I think is a very acceptable way to approach it. You gotta be careful if they have Mace on the team, because he will ruin things. You also have the second use of the Cat May team. This time, if you use Shock T on the squad instead of C-3PO, the numbers will suggest, in my experience in testing, have suggested that C-3PO is just a much stronger candidate for this team. Shock T can fill in a pinch, but she's not as strong as C-3PO. I'm going to be putting out a video here pretty soon, now that I have this team mostly developed on all three accounts. And then, of course, we have Kenobi on defense is a little sad, because now we also have Reva just deleting it pretty consistently. Jabba here, he has a lot of counters right now, but some of them I think are situational. It's hard to tell, guys, because looking at all the data and everything, it's hard to extract meaningful information when Datacrons really, like you have the Mara Jade Datacron, and so they have about a 50% win rate against Jabba. Is that just because of Starkiller's mechanics working really well, or is it because the Datacron overpowered Mara and made the whole team way stronger? It's hard to know, so maybe next time I make this video, we'll take the Starkiller team off the list, because it's only a 10% counter without the Mara Jadecron. It's just hard to tell, guys. Afra really shines here, guys. You really want B2 here, because Jabba hands out so many buffs. You want the buff immunity to go on to everyone. Night Sisters may be a Datacron seasonal team. I think that they are, but they're going to stay on this list, because even without a good Datacron, even without a Datacron, I can use my Gear 11 Night Sisters to kill all of the adds on Jabba fairly easily. Then they won't kill Jabba, they can't get through him, but then you can clean him up if you need to. And Afra will do that. Usually she'll delete Jabba as well. And then CLS, I think that might be seasonal as well. If they wear a thick Kron, they survive just long enough to stick it to Vader, or to Jabba, about 25% of the time. Now for seasonal counters, we have Phoenix with the Captain Rex Kron, and they ramp so much damage that they eventually delete every version of Lord Vader and Jabba that I've seen so far. It's actually fairly crazy. And then we also have the Kenobi team that gets beat by a Jedi Revan team with Cal. Granted, I made a video of that just a little bit ago. You guys can go check that out. It's just like the new meta is crazy or something like that. And I didn't realize how consistent this was, because the Cal Kron gives Jedi Revan a ton of extra speed I didn't realize he was getting. So pay attention to that, guys. I'm really interested to see. Cal's gonna be here in less than a month, I think. So get ready for Cal. You can do this counter too. Go get this Datacron while it's Conquest. Anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. Would love to hear your comments about this format. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.